It's July 1st, and that officially means that Texas and Oklahoma are members of the SEC. And it's been a long time coming, and it could have been even longer if they hadn't worked out a deal with the Big 12, with Fox, with ESPN, with the SEC. Everybody got to be all hunky dory, and they get to join in 2024. But that's not necessarily a great thing, I don't think. Because if you look at it, has there been a worse time to join the SEC than right now? And I think you could make an argument that yes and no. Because one, Nick Saban's no longer at Alabama. You don't have that 1,000-pound gorilla hanging on the back of the conference anymore, daring you to beat them, daring you to be better than them. And that's a difficult thing to accomplish. Well, that doesn't exist anymore. You don't have to worry about Nick Saban at Alabama anymore. And is Alabama going to continue to be at the heights that they were under him? I would guess no. Now, that's not to say anything about Kalen DeBoer, because I think Kalen DeBoer is a very, very, very good football coach. But it's just not likely that you're going to stay at the mountaintop that Alabama football was under Nick Saban consistently year after year after year after year. I just don't think that's super likely. I like, if you were to bet me, does Kalen DeBoer win a national championship at Alabama or no? I would say yes. But does Kalen DeBoer win 7 national championships at Alabama? I would probably take the under on that one. But despite Nick Saban not being there, Kalen DeBoer is still a very good football coach. Brian Kelly is at LSU. Lane Kiffin is at Ole Miss. Texas A&M just hired a competent coach. Georgia has a coach who's won 2 national titles, and you could probably argue should have had the chance to fight for another one in 2023. And I don't know that I would have bet against them. You put all of that together, coupled with you are now adding 2 more very, very, very good football teams, football brands, football coaches with Texas and Oklahoma, Steve Sarkisian, Brent Venables. It just got that much more hard. And then you couple in the fact that there is now a 12-team college football playoff that will be a 14-team playoff before you know it. In a 4-team college football playoff, I think fans, pundits, analysts, whatever, the boosters, athletic departments, were going to be more understanding if you didn't make the college football playoff when there's only 4 slots. Because in some years, there's just more good teams than spots available. And they would understand if you went 10-2, that can still be a really successful season, even if you don't make the college football playoff. If you go 10-2 now and don't make the college football playoff, the scrutiny is that much more intense. The hot seat gets hotter. The focus becomes more focused. The spotlight shines brighter on you in 2024 and beyond if you don't make the college football playoff, because it's more accessible. There are way more paths and avenues to make the playoff than there ever have been before. And with that comes a detriment, because if you weren't the SEC champion, and make no mistake about it, there are very few programs that the expectation every single year is go perfect, beat your rival, and win the conference championship, win the national championship. There are very, very, very few programs where that is the expectation year in and year out. Unfortunately for Texas and Oklahoma, I think they are 2 of those programs that have those expectations of go undefeated, I guess, beat your rival, go undefeated, win the conference. That was not horribly difficult to accomplish in the Big 12. It becomes really, really difficult to accomplish in the SEC. And so while there is more cachet, more interest, more excitement now in your programs because you are part of one of the Power Two. And we can talk about, or I guess one of the Big Two. We can talk Power Four football all you'd like. There are Big Two. It is Big Ten versus SEC. And for you to now be a part of the Big Two for Texas and Oklahoma fans is fun, is exciting, is encouraging. But to be a wet blanket, you now have to also figure out how you're going to react to differing expectations, differing results, because the idea that Texas and Oklahoma are going to waltz into the SEC and, one, have the same success that they had in the Big 12 is unlikely, just because the upper echelon, the top crust of the SEC is bigger than Texas and Oklahoma. It has LSU and Georgia and Alabama and Florida and Missouri in 2024 and Ole Miss. And we can go on and on and on. It's going to be more difficult to be as good as you were at your old home. And not only that, if you don't make the college football playoff, there's going to be a lot of questions of why. Because now if you lose your second game of the season in week 9 and you're 6-2, like, your fans are going to be stupid and irrational, like, how the hell we lose to? Yeah, you're going to have that. But the idea of, like, there's still a path forward to the college football playoff is gone. It's non-existent, out the window. Don't have to worry about it. It's like, okay, we got to finish the season strong, build towards next season. Let's get a good bowl game out of this. Now, you lose a second game. You better not lose a third, because I don't think 9-3 teams all that often are going to get in the college football playoff. But at the same time, there is this prevailing thought that the college football playoff is only going to be made up of SEC Big Ten teams, conference champ from the Pac-12, or conference champ from the Big 12, conference champ from the ACC, and a group of 5. And while that may be, I don't think you're going to see, at least not initially, a college football playoff that has 6 SEC teams. I just don't think it's going to be up. I don't think it's going to be that big for one conference immediately. I think we might get there. I think you might get to where one conference gets the benefit of the doubt that the third best team in the Big Ten is viewed as the 6th or 7th best team in the SEC or whatever. But I'm just here to tell you that if Texas and Oklahoma don't find immediate success, there's going to be questions about the football coaches, the football programs there. And whether that's fair or not, I don't know. But it is diving into a really difficult spot, because is Alabama still going to be playoff caliber? In my opinion, yes. LSU, yes. Ole Miss, yes. Georgia, yes. I don't think there's going to be 6 spots there. So is Texas going to be there? Yes, absolutely, 100%, in my opinion. Oklahoma, maybe not this year, but I think they're still going to be very, very good. But there are going to be questions if you don't make the college football playoff as an SEC school, especially one with expectations, history/tradition of Texas and Oklahoma. Now, the money's going to be great. The increased attention to your programs, because you're going to undeniably play bigger games. Texas versus Georgia is going to be a huge game. Oklahoma, when they play LSU or they play Alabama, is going to be big time attention to your programs, much bigger than Oklahoma versus TCU or Texas versus Iowa State. It's not an apples to apples comparison. The money is going to be exponentially better. The attention, the talk around your games is going to be bigger and better. And I know that I don't know maybe as much as Texas, but I know Oklahoma fans despised Big Noon Kickoff. They hated playing games at 11 a.m. Central Time. And that's not going to happen as much in the SEC. So there's that excitement too. But be careful what you wish for, because I don't know that there's ever been a more difficult time to step into the SEC, coupled with the way the college football playoff is set up right now. And I wonder if in a couple of years maybe Steve Sarkisian isn't the head coach of Texas anymore, or Brent Venables isn't the head coach at Oklahoma anymore. And one of those programs is mired in kind of that. I don't think they're going to be, Miami, Nebraska territory, but I could absolutely see, that Auburn, Michigan State, Penn State tier of we can be really good every once in a while, but for the most part, are we second fiddle? Sometimes, yeah. I think you can see that happen really quickly in one of those programs. You just got to guard against it and make sure you hire the right folks, because everybody, no matter what it's not that long ago that before Nick Saban, Alabama was a dumpster fire. It was not that long ago before Jim Harbaugh that Michigan was a dumpster fire. Everybody can do this. Everybody, if you get the hire wrong, can become Tennessee or Nebraska or Miami or whoever the insert name here. You can lose your spot as one of the top dogs in the sport just as quickly as you got it. And I think it's much more likely that happens in the SEC than it was in the Big 12. So while it's a great day in Norman and Austin, and they got TV specials on the SEC network, and they're pumped up and excited, I'll be the wet blanket to say, maybe pump the brakes. Be careful what you wish for, because it might not be what you're super excited about in just a short time. That'll do it for today's episode of the Daily Huddle. Appreciate you making us a part of your day, however it is, wherever it is you're doing so. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you're getting all the great college football content we're pumping out. If you are watching on like YouTube, as I said, the thumbs up button, that really helps. If you're listening to the podcast feed, 5-star review goes a long way in helping us out as well. We'll see you tomorrow for another episode here of the Daily Huddle.